the heart and soul behind every business. Stories. Welcome to Business Story of the Week, hosted by me, Joshua Laurie. From setbacks to comebacks, from tragedies to triumphs, we inspire entrepreneurs through conversations that matter. Witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. Whether it's your career, business, or life, your success is always one story away. This is Business Story of the Week. And welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Business Story of the Week. I am your host, Joshua. And today, our question is do you think it's possible that you can turn your business into a magnet by writing a book and you can do that in 90 days? Well, our guest
Or
here
less.
today is, or less is the keyword. Our guest today is exactly the guest to answer that question. Karma Spence is an award winning and best selling author. Karma empowers entrepreneurs to activate their author switch. I love that term, by the way. Leveraging her author diagnostic system and decades of marketing experience, she helps her clients transform their expertise into publishing success that elevates their business. Her dedication shines in delivering tailored strategies that ensure clients not only achieve but surpass their goals, cementing their positions as leaders in their fields. And today, Karma is going to share that expertise, to share that knowledge with us today. Karma, thank you for being on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Karma, before we really get into it, I mean, we are going to get into it right away. First off, share to us your first story on how you first discovered your passion for writing and helping others become successful authors. But first, it really starts with you, right? Were you always a writing person? Did you always love writing? Did you always know you were going to be an author?
I don't know if I've always known I was going to be an author, but I knew I loved writing at least by the tender age of 4. I
Wow.
remember back then I was living in East Africa with my family, and
Hmm.
we were at Mombasa Beach.
Hmm.
And my father wrote my name in the sand. And I'm like 4
Wow.
years old. So could I read? Not really. But he goes, Karma, what does that say? And so I kind of like sounded it out. And then when I realized it was my name, I was like, "Oh," and the skies
Wow.
opened and light shone, and I was like, I
Mhm.
fell in love with my name in print. Ever since, I've been seeking to have my name in print.
Wow, that's fascinating. Ever since you've always wanted to be an author, and you've always been the type to. I mean, I've always loved reading books myself, and I love writing myself, but not everyone feels that courage to be an author, right? Not everyone feels like they can be an author, but that is what
Right.
you do with Author Switch. You with Author Switch, you make people believe that someone can transform their journey, especially taking an idea into a published book. Where did the inspiration come from? And talk to us a bit more about precisely the author switch. Why is this a switch? Do you believe anyone can be an author and we can just flip that anytime? How do you help people flip that switch?
Actually, I don't help people flip the switch. I help them
Oh,
keep it on because I can't
interesting.
convince you that you need to write a book.
Hmm.
That needs to come from within. But the reason why I came up with the idea of the author switch is because that desire to write a book or
Hmm.
write anything in
Hmm.
general, it's kind of fragile sometimes. That's why we
Hmm.
have writer's block. And so I've come up with it's my own personal theory, but the more research I'm doing on the topic of writers and creative blocks in general, the more I'm realizing that there are 6 core causes of these blocks. And the
Hmm.
problem I see in the world is that there's a lot of people out there telling you that writer's block doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination, that you're lazy, that you just
Hmm.
aren't just writing. And the problem is that's not true because these people are thinking of writer's block as if it was a disease in and of itself. And
Hmm.
writer's block has more in common with a sneeze than it does a cold. because
Oh,
it's a
interesting.
symptom of
Hmm.
something else. It
Huh.
can be a symptom of a mindset thing, an
Hmm.
emotional thing, a physical
Hmm.
thing. So you need to get at the root cause
Hmm.
in order to get over your writer's block. And so that's what can glitch your switch, so to
Mm.
speak.
Wow.
So writer's block is really just a glitch in your author switch. And so I'm sort of on a mission to help people unglitch their switch.
I love that. Unglitch your switch, not flip your switch, but unglitch your switch because there's always something that's blocking it. But that's interesting how you said that sometimes it's about mindset, sometimes it's about how you kind of like approach things. And writer's block is a symptom of something else. I love that you help uncover that from an idea, you know, to publishing it, turning it into a book, right? And I
Absolutely.
understand that part of this is you use what you call your authoring 101 checklist. It's a key resource for any aspiring author, and you use this to walk authors through, you know, these critical steps, a checklist that are often overlooked. Talk to us a bit about this checklist and what are some of the critical ones in this list of yours.
It's basically a walk through the author's journey.
Hmm.
So your normal typical author's journey pretty much ends once the book is launched and you've marketed it a bit. But an author takes it a step further and turns that book into an integral part of their business.
Hmm.
So I add in the building products from your book, building services from your book. That's part of that whole checklist. But and all this thinking of being a part of your business has to start before you even write. If you're one of those authors that just, "I have an idea for a book and I write it." Believe me, I've
Mhm.
been there, I do that a lot. I'm a very
Mhm.
creative person.
Mhm.
That's great, and there's nothing wrong with those books, but they're
Okay,
very hard to
interesting.
turn into a business after the fact.
Huh.
It's better to bake the business into the book from the get-go.
Wow, that's fascinating. This of course involves um, strategies for if you're whatever type of business book that you are writing, a strategy book or a memoir, perhaps. It's quite
Mhm.
important to have that idea first before you start writing this book. That's very interesting. For me, something on the side I just thought of. Would this work the same for fiction books? How
It
different would
can.
they be? Oh, how?
It
Talk to us
can. In
about that.
fact, I've been noticing a trend of people who are using fiction and fiction frameworks to communicate their business information. In fact, not that long ago, I interviewed an author, Corey Poirier,
Hmm.
who wrote The Enlightened Traveler. And it is sharing business mindset information he gained from interviewing thousands of thought leaders, but it's in
Hmm.
a parable fiction format.
Wow.
And there's a growing number of those kinds of things.
Hmm.
Plus, I know another author who wrote a completely fiction book. It's a young adult fiction novel,
Hmm.
and then he's turned it into a mindset business training program and yet another
Wow.
book called Unhackable. That's Carrie Oberbrunner. Now that's interesting. Both authors' first name is Carrie, spelled differently,
Wow.
but both of them are Carries.
That's fascinating. First of all, I mean, the parables. You know, these are quite also common back then. I mean, I believe was the format of the monk with the Ferrari, something like that. It
Mm.
was a parable type of storytelling as well. Um, and it's interesting how it works with fiction as well, that you're baking into your business idea into fiction, into a fictionary book. Another question of mine that just came up now is, does length matter at all? Because sometimes we read this long self-help books and then you get to the end, it's like, that didn't help me at all. And but there's also these
Oops.
right? We was like, what are these? And there's so many self-help books are a dime a dozen today. I'm
Yeah.
more much of a bigger fan of the self-help books back then. It was like How to Make Friends, Influence People. Those are real self-help books, at least in my opinion, right? But now, as you're getting also long, lengthy books that you really don't get much from, what is a typical length that you would say would be effective? Because now we're in a day and age of attention span. People just
Yeah.
want to be able to sit down. I want to be able to read a book in an hour or two. What's a typical length would that be? And do you think it's more effective? And what type of books do you feel is beneficial to longer lengths of book?
It really depends on your genre, your audience. I mean, like fantasy tends to be long.
Has to
If
be.
but Yeah, pretty much, and they go into trilogies and
Mm.
quadrilogies and
Mhm.
sextilogies and yeah, on and on. But, if you're trying to write a lead attracting book, shorter tends to be better.
Right.
And then it depends on if you want it to be a physical book or not.
Right.
If you want it to be a physical book, it really needs to be about 100 pages or longer. Too much less than that, the book
Mhm.
is too thin and
Yeah.
it gets more expensive to print.
Yeah.
Plus,
And
it
it's not a
feel
book.
when people pick it up and go,
Uh,
but it can
exactly.
be in ebooks. So, for example, I just finished a 4-book series. The
Hmm.
first 3 books were
Congratulations.
each about 40 to 50 pages.
Wow, interesting.
So they were ebooks only, and I'm going to
Mm,
anthologize them into 1 volume, which is around 150 pages. The
interesting.
4th book was 123 pages all by itself, so it's gonna
Hmm.
be a single volume by itself as a physical book. So it's 4 books as ebooks, but
Hmm.
it'll be
Hmm.
2 books as physical books.
That's fantastic. Okay, so I love this insight when it comes to authorship, writing books, and you also do the balance of business and fiction as well. Talk to us about the business side this time, because how does publishing a book open up these opportunities, especially for entrepreneurs, for business owners? What are some real life examples and success stories that you have gone through and experienced of this happening where they publish a book and then it opened up the gates for their business?
I've done a lot of research in this area, and in general, entrepreneur surveys have found that when an entrepreneur becomes an author, they number 1, they get more and better speaking gigs. So they get better
Interesting.
quality speaking gigs, and they are often more often to get paid for said peaking speaking gigs.
Wow.
Entrepreneurs who become authors tend to attract better better quality clients and
Hmm.
higher paying clients. And
Interesting.
entrepreneurs who become authors tend to attract more media attention. I've experienced that myself. It's so
Hmm.
much easier to pitch a reporter
Hmm.
around a topic of your book and say, "Hey, I've got this book
Hmm.
that's a bestseller or this book that's an award-winning book." They're more likely to take you seriously.
Hmm.
Same thing with
Hmm.
people who are looking for speakers. When it's much better for them to have a
Hmm.
speaker that they can put author next to their name than
Hmm.
just business owner.
Exactly, exactly.
So it gives you a bit of clout that you don't have if you're not
Yes,
an author.
exactly. I was going to say that gives you a lot more credibility. It makes you look like more of an expert, really. I mean, you really are an
Exactly.
expert, of course, but being an author solidifies that even further because now you're a published author. Now you know that you're whatever you're saying is respected. It's what you're saying is how you call this. It's been checked or people vouch for it, people have read it, hundreds of thousands, hopefully millions have read and purchased
That would
those
be
books.
nice.
That would be nice, right? That would be such a way to be like, okay, 1 million sold, even a million sold would be fantastic, right? And
That said, you don't have to sell that much to grow your business.
I was going to ask that. That's exactly my question. When it comes to publishing books now, because not everyone's going to be a bestseller, but it is a great way to kind of be like, this is my book, this is my topic. It's so much easier to pitch yourself, it's so much easier to market yourself. But does book sales matter as much? And if they don't, why?
The most important thing is to get your book in the hands of your ideal clients.
Uh huh, uh huh.
And That means you can sell 100 copies, and if they all got into the hands of your ideal clients, you've got 100 clients.
Mm.
So the average author only sells about 200 copies of their book in their lifetime.
Wow.
But entrepreneurial authors, I believe, can sell more because they are doing the things that you need to do in order to get your book in the hands.
Interesting.
Again, you
Okay.
don't even have to sell them. You,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
there are ways to use your book and give it away for free
mm-hmm.
that actually makes you more money than selling a book because I mean, royalties on your book are like 15 cents, 20 cents.
Yeah.
You could sell a million copies. You're not even going to have $1 million.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What's
So
more important as a business owner is to sell something off the book, speaking
interesting.
gigs,
Interesting.
clients, that kind of thing.
So it really is a solidifying your expertise, solidifying your niche that you are, a voice or a leader to be heard in this space.
Marketing asset.
Precisely, I was going to say that because now, when it comes to marketing, now you are a published author. It's a great way to put out there. You don't have to make money off of the book, but at the same time, now that I have this book, what are the typical marketing strategies that you surround around this, Karma? I understand that you not only help your audiences or you help your people that you coach. You not only help them write a book, you also help them market around it once that you have once that they are published. What are the typical marketing strategies that you surround this with? I understand you get more speaking gigs, you get more, marketing for your business, but what are some typical, how do you get yourself out there basically now that you have a book?
You just stand up and shout your name.
Let's go. Wave your book around like, hey, go buy a copy.
That's it. That's it. Actually, I just published a book that goes through all 5 phases of the book marketing
Oh,
journey
wow. Interesting.
because you need to start thinking about book marketing before you write, while you write, do pre-launch buzz, your launch, and then the ongoing, which basically you're marketing your book until your book becomes irrelevant.
Interesting.
And depending on what phase you're in, there
Hmm.
are some strategies that work better than others.
Okay, okay.
Throughout them, growing your list is always the most important
Hmm,
because
hmm.
your list you own, it's your platform. The more you grow your list, the more people you have who've raised their hand and said, yes, I want stuff from you, which means they may want your future books. They may want your programs, your services.
Right.
They may want to go through affiliate programs that you
Yes, yes.
promote, all sorts of things like that.
Wow.
So
So,
that's again, there's a whole bunch of in fact this in June, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but in June I'm doing a month-long event where
oh,
I'm doing everything on book marketing, and it's called Serve Up Your Book this summer because my book is called Serve Up Your Book, and
wow.
it's all to promote my book and get it out there in as many hands as possible
Oh, that's interesting.
while
Serve up your
offering
book.
value.
That's interesting. Okay, so it's really a lot of strategies in there, and it's not just a one pronged thing to put your books out there. But I love it. I love your book title, by the way. Serve up your book. Uh, of course, I love that you're opening this opportunity, this teaching us these insights today, especially for audience and listeners who would love to be an author one day, and of course, entrepreneurs and business owners the same. What are some common challenges that you have seen from your clients, the people that you coach, when writing and publishing a book? Because writing is one thing, I believe, but you mentioned a lot of steps that come into that. Now I want to
Yeah.
write a book, but you're telling me it's like, hey, you gotta plan, you gotta bake in your business into this if that is your goal. So it's one thing to plan, it's one thing to write a book, it's one thing to publish it, it's one thing to market it. So there's a lot of steps right now. What are the
Yeah.
common challenges that you face, and how do you help them overcome these obstacles?
I've noticed there's different milestones along the author's journey.
Hmm,
And at each milestone, you can get stuck. So, like the first milestone is coming up with the right idea.
hmm,
And
hmm.
a lot of people will go, I want to write a book and I've got too many ideas or I don't have any ideas at all. And they get stuck there.
Mhm.
Once they have an idea, the next step, ideally, is to
Mhm.
outline. Some people try to skip that step, and when they
Mhm.
do, they go down writing rabbit holes and end up getting stuck in the writing process because they don't know where they're where they're going and how they want to get there. So I always
Mhm.
recommend having an outline, even if it's high level. I mean, your outline could be 5 bullets that says, "These are my
Oh,
5 chapters," and that's it. It's basically a roadmap that keeps you so that, as you're driving along your little author's journey, you may
yeah.
want to pull over and look at the largest ball of yarn.
Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
can do that if you've got an outline because now it will pull you back and get you back on track when
Mhm.
you come back from seeing the largest ball. I don't know why I'm always obsessed with the largest ball. I got to go see the largest ball of yarn because I keep talking about it. Um,
That's too funny.
and then the next step is people that where people get stuck is in the editing and the book
Yeah.
design and all that
Mhm. Mhm.
production stuff that happens.
Mhm.
Some people try to skip editing. Don't
Oh.
don't
Oh.
skip editing. Even I mean, I'm a professional editor. I've won awards for my editing. I usually have 2 people edit my work
Right.
because
Right.
what
Right.
one editor misses, the other editor picks
Of
up
course.
and they see different things.
Right.
So I always have that. Always have someone proof it. I always have it edited before it goes to design and
Mhm.
after layout because stuff happens while it's being laid out.
Mhm.
And then you know what? No matter how many people you have edited it, you'll get the final piece and you'll go,
Always. Ah. Oh
there's
my
always
goodness.
something. There's always something you miss.
Always.
So that's
Always.
that's why when you're doing print on demand, they always if you're doing a physical book, they always make you buy a copy
Mhm.
before they'll let you, approve it. So I highly recommend going through that physical copy you get.
Okay, that's
Now
interesting. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, and if you get these from Amazon, they will have a big note on it that says proof copy, which is kind of a bummer because other companies, when you order your proof copy, it looks like the real thing, so you can, like,
Mhm.
show it when you're
Mhm.
on videos and stuff without having this stupid proof copy thing on there, but I guess they don't want you to sell it on the side or something because you got it for
Okay.
in cheaper than normal. Um, and then finally, the last place where people get stuck is in the marketing. They
Yes,
they
of
they
course.
s they just don't know how to get the book in
Mhm.
the hands of people, and
Exactly.
there's not a lot of really good book marketing support out there. You can
Mhm.
hire people to do the marketing for you, and then you don't know what they're doing.
Mhm.
You can learn a technique, and then if that technique doesn't work for you, you have to spend more money to get another technique, and you never know what it is.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm later very soon, I may be launching a program called Book Marketing Club.
Mhm.
Once a month, we learn one book marketing technique, we get the assets together, and then that way you can go up to the book marketing buffet and taste all the
Uh,
techniques and find out which ones you like that work for you and your audience. And there's a mastermind component of it. So
wow,
we're always supporting you for as long as you want to be a member. And I think
that's
it's
fascinating.
I it's what I wanted but couldn't find. So I made
Oh,
it
there
myself.
you go. Wow, that's wonderful. Is every support that you wanted as an author but never could find anywhere else. So now you're providing the same author support because I mean it's a daunting task. Everyone wants to be an author, or people might have dreams to be an author, but they don't
Yeah,
know where to start. And you've given us
yeah.
that start right now, and you're giving that support, Karma, glitching our switch, not flipping it,
Unglitching.
unglitching,
Unglitching
unglitching our switch, making sure
it.
to keep it on. And it's again, I love the concept. I love the messaging behind it. I love that you have these clear steps. Is because it doesn't make authorship so daunting anymore. The way you talk
Yeah,
about it, the way you make it sound, it's like, wow, okay, I can be an author. I would love to be an author myself one day, honestly, Karma. And you've given me a lot of insights today, and I'm sure that the audience and listeners feel just the same. Karma, I would love to give you this opportunity. Where can we find you? Where can we connect with you? Where are you most active at? Where can we know about this summer bonanza that you're going to do this entire June? And I'm sure the episode will be out by then.
Okay. For serve up your book this summer, go to karmaspence.com. In the
Mhm.
top navigation, it'll say June event. Click on that. Takes you to the page where all the events are there. If you want to learn about anything about me, go to authorswitch.com and all the links to all my websites are on that page right there.
Fantastic.
And I'm
That's
probably most active on LinkedIn and Facebook.
all right. All right. That's fascinating. All right. Karma, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being on here. And to our all audience and listeners, I invite you to check out Karma's website. Watch out for that book. Get into the details of her serve up for your book summer. Let's have that wonderful authoring summer together. Karma,
Exactly.
before I let you go, one last thing to give to the audience to share. One last thing, bit of advice. Take us home.
Be who you are because
Oh,
who
love
you are
that.
is good enough.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's beautiful. What a beautiful message. What a beautiful way to close this out. Be who you are because it is enough. You are enough. Thank you for reminding us today, Karma. Thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you.
To all our audience listeners out there, see you on the next one.
All right,
Bye.
so here's the thing, we try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.